There we go. Hello, Penumbuddies.
Hey, Penumbuddies. Season 3 is on the books.
Wow. I
She's
can't believe
done.
it. Wow, we've been doing this a while.
Yeah, what a fucking year, man. This is
Yeah.
more than a year.
Holy crap. God, I gotta find when we published our first episode so we can have like a anniversary thing
Oh
later.
my
But
god, that sounds like so much.
I know.
Our audio quality must have been horrific.
I don't want
Uh,
to go back. I don't want to look. I do not see.
I remember we uploaded it was like our third time recording or something. We uploaded it to SoundCloud and it cut off in the middle.
Yeah, because it
And
was like
people
we are
were
out of
sending us
space.
comments that were like, "Hey, where's the rest of it?"
Oh no, that was intentional. You
Yeah,
see. No
so
closure for
intentional.
you. Speaking of which,
Oh my god.
um I think we talked about this and we were like, let's start with like less happy things and then end with things we liked. So
That
like
works for me. Um,
cool.
this was not a great finale.
I agree. I think it would make a fine AF mid-season finale, but
I
as a
agree.
finale, hmm,
Mm-mm. I
mm,
honestly, as I think about it more and more, like that's bugging me less and less. Because like if you think about um oh my god, Promised Land, that's the episode I was thinking of. You think of Promised Land as a season finale, and it was supposed to be. The only reason it was a mid-season finale was because they didn't want because Second Citadel needed to keep moving. It wasn't at a stopping place. So if you think of it like that, then fine, whatever. That's a finale, I guess. But the themes, none of the themes
I
that
know.
they've been building up all season stuck around at all.
I could see some of it. But I'd also say about Promised Land that like I would, to be fair, I'd be having the same problems like if they had used like Promised Land as a season finale. I think I would still be saying this is really doesn't conclude anything and has left a lot of the narrative and the themes unresolved for the season. Like
Okay.
I think yeah,
I was
I
I was
need to go
actually
back,
around
but
in live, not to like undermine your point. Sorry.
no,
But
please do. Yeah, like if you disagree, I'm totes good with that.
yeah, I was in the fandom when that came out. When we were Juno just walked into the desert and we were all just like, well,
Bye.
shit. But there was a different sense because it was presented to us as a mid-season finale. So we were all like, he's not gonna die. We know he's not just gonna die. And we did get the big Ramses reveal,
Oh, that is
which
so
was
satisfying.
just kind of it was out of nowhere, but it made perfect sense. Like I felt like that was built up to so well.
That's true because even though yes, that just creates more questions, it wasn't like the ruby because the ruby we already
We knew
like
something weird was happening with the ruby, and we all kind of guessed that the ruby was the MacGuffin.
yeah, and so it was like the ruby was like, you know how you thought this was suspicious? Well, you're right. It was suspicious, but then like Ramses, yeah, I can see that being more satisfying to me had I been listening at that point.
Yeah, you just went, this guy who's given you the creeps forever. Ah, whoa.
Holy shit, like
Yeah.
oh, mind totally blown. Hadn't yeah, that's a different feeling, I think.
It was
But
also a
this,
dark
yeah.
ass turn,
Yeah.
which was interesting. And I think it did mark a big shift in the tone of the show, I think, personally, but I don't know, like if we think of season when we can talk about this when we talk about season 2, but um if we think of 2A as like Juno really just barely getting to a place where he doesn't want to die,
Yeah.
and that kind of opens him up to 2B where he's like, all right, I don't want to die, so how do I live?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Gosh darn it. I have been convinced. Actually, I would have been much more okay, not only because of the Ramses reveal, but because Juno had an arc. Like he did decide at the end that he wanted to like survive. Like he
Yeah, but then he
not
walked into the desert.
yeah, that's true.
So that may have pissed you off.
Yeah, I might have been like,
Hmm.
themes. Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe we're
Yeah.
still, yeah, what does this say? Because yeah, that's hard with this episode. You were about to talk about themes because it's like, does this like promote the themes of the series or muddle them?
Muddle. It's muddled. It was just ugh. Okay. Wolf 359 fans, I'm sorry. I love the show too, but there are some episodes in the later half of the last season that felt kind of like this. This felt like a bad Wolf 359 episode where gritty things are happening and characters are being abducted and taken hostage and there are hostage exchanges that are always going to be gunfights or whatever. And you're not given enough context to properly understand what's happening. And like it's taken me so many listens to figure out like even the shit with like Jet holding the door.
Yeah, I was like, why is he holding? Like, I kind of got that. I was much more confused about the like 30 minutes of invisibility related to like this transport that was going to show up somewhere. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree that the that ending, yeah, you definitely have to re-listen to get a sense. Or at least I did. Maybe some people like snap. They immediately
Yep.
picked it
All
up.
that auditory processing skill that I do
Yeah,
not
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Um
Just
yeah. I don't know. I just it felt it was unsatisfying. It was very unsatisfying and that really sucked for me cuz I was feeling like the season as a whole was unsatisfying, but I thought Heart of It All was really good, and I thought that What Lies Beyond Part One and Two were really good. It
yes.
felt like it was finally getting up to where it needed to be, and then no.
Yeah, that was why I didn't even feel like I made a post about this and I didn't even feel like the roller coaster stopped and then went back down. I feel like the roller coaster just stopped. Like and I had to get out of the cart myself and like find a way down. Like I just I
Yeah,
yeah, I just felt like I had been left to dry and I was like, "Oh God." Yeah, it didn't I'm in the same boat of I think if a person had enjoyed this season as a collection of character um explorations
hmm,
and hadn't really felt like they were because I was waiting. I was like, well, the season finale will either make or break my personal view of this season.
hmm.
And so I bet a lot of people weren't in that boat, but I was. And so when this came out and didn't answer pretty much
Anything?
anything, and on a biased note, didn't like really give me any answers or a step towards like I felt tangible resolution to like whatever the hell's going on with Peter Nureyev. I was like, okay, so fuck. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They set up the season, and then we're gonna do a season three retrospective, so we can save some of this for that. But
Yeah.
I do think it's important that like they set up the conflicts of the season. The A plot and the B plot are Cure Mother Prime
Yep.
and Peter Nureyev and
Yep.
or Betrayev. Betrayev is the B
Yes.
plot, and I was really invested in seeing where both of those go, and instead they just chopped off both of them.
Yeah. Like one
Like
gets
if they
dropped
had
on the
resolved one and
floor.
not the other, that would have been fine for me.
That makes sense.
Like if Peter had disappeared, but they had gotten to do something important with the Cure Mother and they pushed Peter to next season, fine. If they dealt with Peter's shit, but the Cure Mother was next season, also fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, yeah, no, I agree. Like, I was not really that invested in the Cure Mother because I considered it like a MacGuffin situation where like we're going after this thing because it gives us something to do and propels the plot. But then again, there were a lot of questions about, I mean, like, it's a really interesting idea, and they did just push all potential like whatever cool thing is going to happen with Juno in relation to
Oh
yeah, we're gonna
yeah.
have to wait until
It's
next
in his fucking
season.
blood now, man.
Yeah,
Juno
so
is the Cure Mother. Sorry.
yeah, I mean that's awesome. I would have liked to see it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's the thing. They set up so many cool things.
Yeah, and then they're like, "We'll deliver on it next time." And I'm like, "I've been waiting for you to deliver on it for 10 hours." But oh my God.
I'm gonna.
Like, yeah.
Can I make a dirty joke?
Yes.
They've just been edging us all year,
They have.
and
They
then they just
have.
left.
And then they just left. And they said, "I'll be back later." And I said, "When?" And they laughed.
Well, they have a dog now. They have to. Let's let them have some time with their family. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, dog is absolutely. I want them to have a good time with the dog.
this is true.
Yes.
Apparently, they're both just like crying and holding the dog's face.
Well, I for one am proud of them. But
Um,
yeah, and this doesn't mean that I like don't like them as people,
oh
obviously.
no,
I
of
just
course.
yeah. Yeah, and like I understand that, this year was hectic, but also I'm hearing people be like, "Well, a resolution would have been rushed." And it's like, "Well, they had control of the narrative.
Yeah, it
Like they
wasn't
could
their
have
fault.
yeah, like they
They
could
did
have
a
done
six-part finale last year.
just like if they're like, okay, we need more time for the season, then just extend the season and like don't have these two. I think they're placing an unnecessary burden on themselves by making the Juno Steel finale come out like within like right after or right before the finale for Second Citadel.
Yeah.
Like and just like if they need to keep going with a story, then they need to keep going with a story. And it's not like they've got a studio head telling them, we only have the money for this many episodes. Like, so I just don't
Well,
know.
now that they're both Patreon full time, I feel like season 4 will probably be sooner
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So we
since
will
Kevin's not
hopefully,
teaching.
yeah, get some stuff soon. At the moment, I'm super raw off of this and I'm feeling pretty lost and like we could go anywhere and I wouldn't be surprised. And so that's created the situation where I'm not really excited anymore so much as like, no, I'm going to listen. Like
Mm.
you said, I'm going to still be part of this fandom, but I'm not I let myself get really psyched up for a year and a half that I was going to get to a place that we never got to. A lot of that is my bad, but some of it I believe is just natural coming from wanting a narrative to have a resolution for a finale. But yeah, like I'm tired basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel the need to be like, no piece of media is everything to all people, but I
Exactly.
do think there are things that make a satisfying story, and this season somehow skipped most of them.
Yes, I 100% agree. Like, there are a lot of cool things you can do by like going off the beaten track and like just being like, you know what? Let's not answer any questions and like let's do this and this and this, like surprise people. And that can be really cool. But again, like I said, that like with my post, that comes at the risk of audience dissatisfaction because, there are expectations when you make like fiction. And a lot of this season was about totally like distancing themselves from like any type of like expectation like oh we'll have this conversation between Juno and Peter when they reunite and it's like nope we're not going to see that and it's like oh we'll have Juno as the narrator nope we're going to branch out and have a round robin it's like we're no longer in the space of the detective noir genre so much as a space fantasy like we
Yeah, it went
yeah
Firefly.
yeah, it was a whole different story and it went in, I thought, whatever kind of direction they wanted. And like, that's fine. I just think that they kind of, yeah, um, they went a little, I was not satisfied by this. And that's okay. I just wasn't.
That's okay. Yeah, yeah. And I do think there are good parts of this episode. We don't have to switch to talking about them all right now, but I think that they set up a lot of really cool stuff. I think that we have we have it on reasonably good authority. I don't know. It seems extremely likely to me that next season is not going to be round robin and is instead going to be all Juno or Juno and Peter.
Yay!
Both of which I would be perfectly happy with. If they did a
Yeah.
split between Juno and Peter, amazing. Cool.
Yeah. That's personal preference for me where I just love hearing from those two. So that would make me really happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, and I do think that they put Juno in a good spot to grow more in the
Yeah.
end. Like, I think that Juno has, for all his loner tendencies, he has a really hard time when he feels left alone. Um, and
Oh,
like that makes sense. I too have crippling abandonment issues. Um,
that's fair. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think that Juno having to reach out to people, I am really hoping for like a shitty ragtag team.
Please.
Like give me Falco, give me Cass
Mick.
Kanagawa,
Yes.
give me Mick, just to shame Sasha, just to look
Yeah.
at her disappointedly. Um, give me Alessandra and her wife, like
Yes.
anyone that Juno can rustle up.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And that would almost feel like a satisfying conclusion to me. Like, talk about satisfaction for like the whole series. Do that thing where you bring back all the characters that people love, like for
Yeah,
allies during the final fight. But then, of course, Brahma, Newtown, there are things to figure out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although I actually did have like a random fear re-listening today.
One
What
fear.
if they Thea the carte blanche crew?
I would love that. Oh my God. I would love
That
that
would
so.
be terrifying.
It would be terrifying. Can you imagine a Theod Rita? I don't think anyone
Ah!
would survive.
A Thea jet?
Oh
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Yeah, no, thank you. They're a formidable crew. Like they really are.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I
Oh
would
man.
I would love to see Juno face off with his family like that because I'm twisted and I like
Yeah.
angst. But yeah, I'm really stuck on themes. I'm like, because there are parts of like in kind of a middle ground commentary. I'm like, there are things about this episode that I could see because the recurring theme to me, I think we talked about this before, was trust.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so if you exchange the word believe for trust in this episode, I think you get some good
Okay.
commentary on trust. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it strikes me how much this finale is speaking to um both Monsters Reflection and Promised Land. That this is a I think it's interesting that the relationship they really focused on was Juno and Jet.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, like I have issues with how AA does things, but the idea of like a sponsor, of someone who's farther along in their recovery, who's like helping you, and I think that and it Juno and Jet have gotten really close, clearly.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting how much they are like Jet has decided to rely on Juno, and it terrifies Juno to have people relying on him. He
Oh.
just got the weight of the world off his shoulders after all these years, and now it's back on, but it's actually on.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is that finally Juno was in a position where like he was working together and now he's alone trying to save everyone again. And so, yeah, I can see this presenting a unique challenge to him. I love Jet as his sponsor, like especially after cuz Buddy, I mean, they all need assistance, but just the thought of someone like Jet being there as this solid rock, like that's lovely.
There's a reason I wrote him as foster dad extraordinaire.
And it's perfect.
Ugh,
I love it.
that fic. I need to write more fic. I have not written in a while. But
Oh, me
actually, the
too.
the script notes do reference Promised Land.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
He's not been this bad since Promised Land, right?
Yeah. Juno, the low and dark and angry, Juno hasn't sounded like this since season 2. He is under the impression that this is the same as the end of Promised Land, Juno out and alone in nowhere, but this time Jet can't scrape him off the sand. No.
Oh, gosh.
But I do like the focus on Jet. I think that's really interesting, especially since we see Jet being set up to be the new captain of whatever comes next.
Yes. And I thought it was really a great idea. Like, I thought it was, frankly, I was like, what are you doing? When they had the flashback where they all agreed that one person should leave, I was like, why is this not in the beginning of the season so that we
Yeah.
could feel the dread and then the satisfaction when it came back up later? But I really appreciated that they planted the seed of Juno questioning whether he could, if the crew weren't there, still maintain, his new.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now we get
Recovery.
to answer that question. Yeah, he's headed out into the sand, but this time it's with all the lessons that he's learned. And so, yeah, it's a very different situation. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that a lot. That I feel like I really relate to that. Like there are certain scenarios I know I can handle better now.
Yeah,
And but like what if those circumstances change at all? Am I just going to go, am I going to fall exactly back to where I was?
yeah,
And we kind of I think it's interesting that we see him at a low point at the end. Like he is very mean to Ruby.
yeah, it was awful.
Poor
And
Ruby.
yeah, don't use the ruby as a way to yell at Peter. That's not nice.
So many lines in this episode were Juno having feelings about Peter.
Oh, oh, it killed me. Killed me.
Although I'm
Oh,
kind of getting more and more invested in the idea that the Ruby doesn't really understand what's going on.
I'd love that. It would kind of explain where the ruby went.
Yeah, like I don't like I'm sure Ruby is hyper intelligent, but I'm not sure she understands humans.
Yeah.
Like she's a car, kind of. She could I'm sure she could be a human.
Yeah.
But cars are easier, I guess. But what if she did alert dark matters because she thought that that would be the way to go? And
Yeah.
for some reason, like that made her think that. Um, like
Like
maybe Jet was injured, or I don't know.
yeah, they're
Um,
the only ones with the technology who could possibly save these people from where they currently are, like, or they
yeah,
are closest. Yeah.
and then like I don't know. I think there's good evidence for Ruby having taken Peter and come back, but
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I think Juno's like, where were you? Why didn't you help? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Ow.
Ruby understood enough to help.
Oh, that's very true. Like poor Ruby was just doing what she thought she needed to do.
Yeah. Also,
Oh,
Ruby knows Nereyev's name.
so cute.
Very cute.
I hope they're friends. That was like my first thought. Like, Nureyeva's name, and I was like, are they friends? Did Nureyev talk to her? And it's like, no, it's from a recording. And I'm like, oh, like,
Aw, that would
cause
have been that's a cute idea that someone should
yeah,
write that fic that Nureyev sneaks off and like pours his heart out to the car.
yeah, cause the one like creature that like can't tell his secrets but can still empathize.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, he's,
yeah.
a little in love with his car.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the first love was his car, of course. That was like that was the thing that made like as a filthy array of Kinney, of course, this is going to hit me harder than it would, I think, a lot of people that we didn't because this season was just like when you think about it from Nereev's perspective, it's so sad.
It
And
really is.
I kept holding out that like he would get like he'd try to leave and then someone would be like, "No, we're not doing this again because growth TM." And then he would be like, "Okay." But like nope, it was just a whole season of him like being like not trusted by the crew until this last moment with Jet, I guess, for some
Well,
reason.
yeah, I think there is something to be said for people coming to trust Nureyev. Like I think I think we got kind of most of the crew deciding to trust him. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of the Jet line about how Peter is solitary and could only fail.
Yeah. Or why Juno didn't decide to go after him
I
first
don't
when
understand
he's
that.
yeah, because he's a master thief and apparently he's like Jet thinks he's going to go after the crew. So yeah, like Fawn and I were talking where it's just like why not like just go and catch him if Ruby
Go
knows
get
where he is.
him, yell at him, then
Yeah.
go get Falco. Also,
Yeah.
it's Falco on Io. I am taking no questions. I'm
Luna
taking Falco.
knows. Luna knows. Also, Luna was right about a Ruby Transformer.
Luna
Ruby
is
Transformer.
right.
Yeah.
But I do think if we're pushing the who was my first love question to next season, we are getting some HCPD backstory. I'm sorry. So much. So if Sasha's being set up as the big bad of the season,
Yeah.
then we got to learn more about their history together. And if they're going to Io to talk to Falco, because it's Falco, we know he's off planet, we know he and Rita are friends, and we know that he and Juno are not friends.
Oh, fuck. Yes. I am actually like, yes, 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 yes. Can we please get some juicy HCPD backstory? I
I
am
think
so
we're going to
ready.
have to. Like, that makes sense. We need to know more about what happened at the HCPD because it affects Sasha.
Yeah. Because that's not even about like narrative structure anymore. That's like, which I'm like confused about. I'm like, where are they going? Like, that's just like for us to understand what's going on with Falco. We're gonna need to at least reference the
Yeah.
HCPD. Yeah.
And then we'll know more about Diamond because Diamond's
Please.
been brought up again.
Diamond! One day we're gonna know the whole Diamond backstory, or we won't probably, but we'll know bits and
Oh,
pieces more. We've already gotten a nice drop of pronouns, and
got pronouns. We don't
yeah,
even, you know, we don't even technically know it's Diamond.
yeah, that's
Well,
true.
do we?
That would be so messed up if it wasn't Diamond. Well, we knew that they were about to get married,
Yeah.
but we don't know if it was Diamond. You're right. Like, it could have been another person.
No, it's Diamond.
Okay,
I think
that
it's
would
Diamond.
be funny.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I do think, I think that having to go make Falco help him is going to be a really interesting way to bring in that backstory more organically. Um, yeah, so I think I'm excited for that. Do you want to talk about Sasha Juno parallels?
Yes, and I know that you noticed this too, but I'm just so fucked up over the fact that the script calls her Sasha until the door opens, that like Jet pushes open the door, and then it starts calling her Wire.
What? I
Isn't
didn't
that
notice
so
that. Oh my
cool?
god.
It's like I was like, "Oh shit, she's like completed the transformation."
Until she
Oh. What?
wait, until what point?
When Jet opens the door because they're about to exchange the Prime.
Okay.
And then she's suddenly called Wire.
Hmm. Oh, that's devastating.
It's so sad. Yeah, like the parallel between her speech about, being big and mean. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, so many characters have said that phrase at some point. I think it's kind of might be becoming like a another theme of the show.
That's cool. I like that
Uh,
theme.
do you let the when the world is mean, do you what do you do? Do you get meaner? Do you lay down and take it? Do you become better? Like
Yeah.
because I think Juno's always kind of been a more lay down and take it kind of guy.
Yeah. Like
And
why bother fighting it? Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
And Sasha is there's a really interesting note in the script about how shooting Juno is the last step in her unmaking herself.
oh my God. So that explains the name change. Yeah, that's such a beautiful way of putting it, unmaking yourself.
Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think there's just such interesting things to be said. And we've talked about it before that Juno and Sasha have essentially the same backstory,
Yeah.
more or less. And they react in such different ways to it that Sasha puts her faith in institutions and Juno doesn't. I
Which
don't
is
know.
so cool
It
that
is
like yeah,
neat.
to watch those two play off each other this these last 3 episodes, or I guess 2, since she wasn't technically there for more than like a couple seconds for the first one.
True, true.
But yeah, fuck. I don't even. I'm so sad that they're even part of technically, like when you're looking at parallels, they're both part of like criminal pirate enterprises, except one's legal and the other's not. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
they both think they're helping humanity.
Yeah.
That's important.
And the fact that she shoots the Cure Mother and that's her like version of saving humanity is, I think, pretty telling.
God damn. Oh, she has gate kept, gaslit, and girl boss.
It's very like it's almost miasma-y. Like
Yeah.
we need to like cleanse the world. I don't know why I get that vibe, but there's all this talk about mind reading, and doors. I get brought back to that space and I'm like,
Yeah.
what's up with those? Like, why are we back here? Like I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, I think it's interesting that Sasha's invested in keeping the status quo.
Yes.
And Juno is at this point invested in this kind of radical change. And so they're kind of always going to be at odds. And there's a little piece in the script at the end where that's in the mix of the show. It's you can't hear it really, but there's a bit where Buddy's like, "What the fuck? You shot the Prime." Sasha says, "Even in the case of another cognito airborne virus, the outer rim is the most likely to be affected. The average population on an outer planet is a little under 8 billion. In contrast, the insurance and pharmaceutical industries employ above 1 trillion people across our galaxy. The math is simple."
Oh God. Yeah. The lack of humanity there.
Yeah. I don't know, the phrasing of unmaking yourself just keeps resonating.
Yeah, yeah. Holy crap. And so there'll be this question, where Juno's probably either half alien or very alien after whatever the hell happened with the Kirma. So it's like,
Yeah.
who's the most human? And it's
I am
spoiler
really
alert,
going to
it'll be
be upset
Juno.
though if this is the end of the Cure Mother.
Yeah. It won't be.
It won't be. I think Juno. Juno has funky blood. I think Juno's funky blood is going to become the Cure Mother. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
That would be really like they find a way to reproduce Juno's blood. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I just they were doing some interesting stuff with the Cure Mother, and like I don't know. I hope it comes back in some form, and I hope it's honestly I hope it's not just Juno's blood because they were going interesting places, and then they just shot the Cure Mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was it who brought up, like, I think we were talking to someone who mentioned that this was kind of like killing Ramses with a heart attack, except there were other ways to like Ramses, we'd already learned his whole backstory and
Yeah,
so like you can kind of afford to kill Ramses, but then the Cure Mother, I mean, we'd learned the backstory, but like that Osiris thing, I was like, oh, okay, it doesn't just kind of brings up new questions, doesn't really,
yeah.
yeah,
Also, that feels really fundamentally different to me, actually.
yeah, that makes sense.
Uh, I think that the Ramsey stuff was about most people don't get to confront their abusers.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Most people don't get to argue with the people who hurt them, and that's just something people have to be okay with. That you
Yeah,
have to let it go because you won't ever understand why someone hurt you because there's probably not even a reason in the end.
yeah, you
I
don't
mean,
get closure.
yeah, yeah. That I just I think that's such a common dynamic of like not being able to confront the person who hurt you. Um, that that resonated super well with me. But this was just like, here's the thing: we set up a mystery around what this thing is and what it does, and then we got rid of the thing.
That makes so much sense. I am with you all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we knew who Ramses was. We knew what made him tick. We knew why he did what he did.
But you
But
can't always get that. Yeah,
you
so
can't always get closure.
and I love that. I love that they made that choice. When you like tell me about that, I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool." Yeah, but the Cure Mother, there's okay, so you've destroyed the thing that we spent all season trying to get to. Okay.
We didn't really get to learn anything about except that it's Screm.
Yeah,
It's
except
Screm.
yeah, an exposition dump that kind of does more for next season than this one. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Dark Matters definitely knew that Ruby could shapeshift,
Which was cool.
which was
Yeah.
cool. That was a
Means there's
cool
something
way to
there.
think about it.
Yeah. I hadn't thought
Um,
about that. Yeah, that makes sense that they were like looking at sock doors and the garage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ruby's gonna be back, so
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we will definitely learn more about Ruby. Um,
And there were all sorts of little things that I loved about this episode, like the I'll never get over that little clip of Vespa saying, "Heh, wife."
oh,
Like
Vespa
the
is a
little thing.
treasure.
Yeah, or like Juno sitting on Peter's bed. Like that's the kind of thing that I usually am begging for with other media, like a
Yeah.
character just sitting down and processing what happens and getting a look at how they feel about something before we move to the next action piece. So I was like really, and I was the fan fiction part of me is very excited that we know what Peter smells like. So
Yeah. True, true. I don't know. I did think it was kind of funny that at one point he just took kind of an angry little nap.
did he actually nap?
I think they called it in the script a tough guy nap.
Oh my God, I didn't see that. That's so funny. Juno, you only have like 10 minutes. What are you doing?
I mean, I can power nap in 10 minutes, but Juno seems
What?
like an insomniac to me.
Yeah, definitely. He and
Um,
Peter, like that's fair. Like there are all these fics where like Peter's like up and wandering around and Juno's conked out, but really they would both be up just staring at the ceiling. Like
yeah. Oh man. Now I'm imagining them like painting each other's nails at 3 a.m.
that is so cute and perfect.
Yeah.
And now they don't get to do it anymore.
I thought we got an interesting reversal to Soul of the People with Rita.
Yeah?
Um, because Juno put his trust in Rita last season finale, and this time she put her life in Juno's hands.
Crap, oh my God, I didn't realize that. That's so cool.
Yeah. And he let her.
Reversal. Yeah. Yeah,
He did.
yeah, because they trust each other. And yeah, that was like the part that I thought I liked when the trust came in there. And I liked when Jet says, I choose to believe it. I choose to believe that my belief changes the world.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because like that's a big mood where like you can choose to not trust that things will come out okay, and sometimes that pays off. Like Vespa, like kind of
Yeah.
mentions, yeah. But also you can kind of like help good things along when you trust that they will, come to pass. So
I
I
love
liked that.
Jet.
Yeah, Jet's so smart. I
He
love him.
is. He's a good man.
Yes.
Wow. I'm not thinking of that one super long fic that goes into his backstory. The
I don't think I
snake
read
oil
that.
and ambrosia are sold by the same vendor, something like that.
Right. That was another one of those times where I was like, I can't get involved in this fic only to have it not update. So I'm going to wait until
Oh,
it's
it's
done and then
done.
I'll
It's
read it.
done, done.
Exactly. And then I keep doing that. I'm like, I'll read it once it's done, and then it's done and it's like really long. And I'm like, oh, I need to find time to read this. And I
It's
just
worth it, man. Like, it goes some insane fucking places, but
fuck yeah.
it's it's good. It's a good one. I don't like that Rita still lets Juno be mean to her when he's feeling bad. Feels like
Yeah.
Juno should have gotten over that by now, and
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Like I'm good with him like having his moments, of course, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, with Rita, yeah, it's been that's I think one of the first things I would want him to work on because he's been doing it for so long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Juno, like, so much of the season is about Juno dealing with triggers, and he can't deal with a trigger by being mean to Rita.
Yeah, it's just not the way, bud. And I understand that sometimes he'll fall back on old habits, but we haven't, I don't think, seen enough of him. We've seen these fantastic snapshots that really are emblematic of his progress, but I don't think we've seen quite enough of them that I think I can that this episode that he could do that, and then my first thought would be, oh, this is just a slip up. Like I'm like, he's still doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I agree.
Yeah. Don't love that for him.
No.
But,
Gosh.
but it's not like, I don't know. That's not my biggest complaint.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's a mini thing. What do you um I don't know, what do you expect from the whole like is it too early for me to ask you like from season 4, do you think the finale will be saving the crew? Like will that be the overarching kind of
God, I fucking hope not. That would be so annoying.
every episode you get another person on the team or something?
Uh, yeah, I hope it takes like 3 episodes to break them out.
That would be awesome.
And I also hope that just the thing I fundamentally do not understand about this episode is why doesn't he just go get Peter? Drag
I
him back by his
really
hair
don't
and yell at him.
know. Yes.
You don't need to have a
Yes.
fight.
No, because like what does that say about their progression? Like I like it's just so confusing to me because we haven't really seen them outside of like Ultrabots as like outside of I think glimpses.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first part of uh yeah, What Lies Beyond was a treasure. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm like I'm surprised. I assumed, I guess, through what we saw that they were at the point that either that like if Peter tried to leave, Juno would race after him or or Peter might even decide not to leave, but I guess
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. So like I can't I like what? So what? Was it stagnant? Was their relationship stagnant or did they like learn a lot from each other? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's the idea that Peter clearly planned to leave and Juno doesn't have time to deal with that. And like Peter might not be coming back for the crew,
Yeah.
which is I think is a distinct possibility.
Yeah. It's like
Hmm.
you can talk about Juno's character and like how he's, stubborn, but good Lord. Like
Damn.
it just makes sense. Like, right? Am I crazy for him to go after Peter?
Yeah. It does. It does. It would make sense for him to go, fuck you, Peter, get in the goddamn car.
We're going shopping, yeah. We're going shopping for allies and then we're gonna
Yeah.
bust this joint. Yeah.
Yeah, like give me Juno and Peter having an argument while stuck in traffic in the Ruby 7, you know?
Yeah, like that could be an interesting dynamic where, I mean, that's granted, that's a lot on your plate, like as a creator to have like Gino and Peter arguing while they're looking for Falco, but I mean, I wouldn't argue against that.
Yeah. But I guess if we're thinking about trust, I think there's also something to be said about choosing to trust. And I think Peter is going to have to choose to be worthy of the crew's trust.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I see why they're setting it up that Peter has to be the one to choose to come back, but I
that makes
don't like
sense.
it because it doesn't make sense for Juno's character.
That's a great way of putting it because the lesson that you can't drag someone into being a better person kicking and screaming is fair. And like maybe Nureyev isn't ready. And so Juno can't just go after him. But yeah, when you think about it in terms of Juno or the plot, then it starts to be like a little convenient that Juno can't go after him right now.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't love that. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like I wish there was a better excuse, basically. Like I wish, I don't know, he hadn't taken the Ruby 7, and so Ruby doesn't know where he is. And so then it would be like, I guess I just have to trust that he'll come back. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of like, well, I could go after him, because sometimes you do have to hold people accountable. But I won't, because I gotta do this first for plot reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, it's such a weird fucking season.
Very weird, very weird. Totally, totally wild is the word I keep
Yeah.
landing on. Like we were totally wild.
Yeah. Yeah, just so weird. It had some really cool moments and some really high highs and just
Uh-huh.
some deeply terrible lows.
Yeah, like Heart of It All was so cool, and God, I loved the first part of yeah, What Lies Beyond and Man in Glass, classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man in Glass is up there with the best episodes of the whole show.
Yeah, I love Man in Glass.
I'm sorry, the gown, it still makes me laugh.
I know. I still laugh about the bees. Bees are extinct. So yeah, definitely like an up and down situation where I'll be a lot happier like as we keep going and more things get resolved. But for now, I'm that picture of like a little kitten that's like facing a corner and like the text below says Angie. Like that's
Yeah.
me right now. Yeah.
Which is fine,
Yeah,
like,
it's fine.
well, does it? I don't know. I say that, but it doesn't have to be fine. It can be not fine.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, well, this is fine. And then other times I'm like, I'm really sad and like disappointed because I was excited for this thing that didn't happen. And like, as long as I don't hurt anybody, I think that's fine. Like, I can just go lie on my bed and stare at the ceiling for a while. I'm like, that's not gonna, you know, it's not like I'm going to harass the creators or anything. I'm just sad.
Yeah, and you can be sad. You can have the emotions you have.
Yeah.
That is how that works.
Yeah.
Well, Penumbuddies, I'm not sure what you thought. I feel like there's been some mixed reactions on social media. And if you liked it and disagree with us on all of this, that's totally fine. Like, I do not hold it
Yes.
against you. Live your truth. Um,
Absolutely. We love you regardless of how you feel about this podcast. So
yeah,
you're fine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I do want to ask, like, if you have any questions that you want us to answer in the in our season 3 overview retrospective thingy, please let us know. I would love to do a listener questions section.
Be so
Um,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, Fawn, I know you're listening. Send us some good ones.
We love you, Fawn.
We love you, Fawn.
All right. So we'll get to you with Kitty Cat Caper soon. And yeah, that retrospective.
Heck yeah. All right.
Fare thee
Goodbye,
well,
Penum buddies.
y'all.